So when you're putting this on, okay, and here's something very important. When you're going to put the rust bullet coating on, I forgot what I was going to say, and it was supposed to be important. Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I have a great playlist organized with all the DIYs you need. Today, we're going to go ahead and strip down the driver's side interwell and how to remove undercoating. I'm not looking forward to this. This is the part I don't like, is bodywork. But it needs done. We're going to rip it, clean it all down, check for holes, coat it with rust bullet, and I'm going to speed a lot of the film up throughout. So if it's monotonous, you don't get bored. So let's get on it. So this is the side we're going to do. And this undercoating's probably been on there forever. So we definitely want to get that all stripped down and off of there. And I'm going to coat it with rust bullet, depending on what we run into whenever I strip it down. I did fix this. I retapped the threads for the bumper brackets, and I even tried a bolt. There was a bolt broke off in this one. So I drilled and retapped and was able to save all of that, so I didn't have to cut it out. So that's not a bad thing. Let's get the trunk off of here, because I'm going to have to pull them wires through. So we want that out of the way. I had it bungeed because it slid down off once, and I don't want it getting bent. Now, what I didn't do yet is pull these guide rail pieces back off. I still got to do that. I'll probably do that maybe on an in-between film this coming week, because somebody put something in the comments that bothered me. I better pull these rails back off, paint this area, and then paint the guide rails, and then put them back on. So there's paint on both sides. So if you want to see that, let me know. Or if you'll get bored, I won't do it. I need to pull these wires through so they're out of the way. This thing's all dry rotted. It's caca. Have to get a new one. I don't want to rip the ends of the wires off, but I definitely want this out of there. Now we have this where the ends are off. These are all getting replaced. All right, hopefully I'm out of the way of the camera. Take this bolt out of here. I didn't pull the horn wires because they're in really good condition, and I don't want to break these ends off, so I'll just work around that. Speedometer cable is still there. I'll get to that when I get that way. This looks a little... well, it's not soft. Okay. What I'm going to start out with is a heat gun and try to heat it up and peel it and see how that works first. So I'll probably speed certain parts up. Watch with heat guns because they get really, really hot. This undercoating's pretty thick. I don't know if this was put on aftermarket. I'm really not sure. Oh, crap. I tried doing it before without the heat, and it wouldn't even budge. Oh, my goodness. This works way better than I thought it was going to. Can you believe that? Just be careful with heat guns. Watch you don't melt wires or anything around it. I figure we got to start somewhere on the exterior body, so I'm starting here and moving front to back. And I'm yapping and not heating up the area I should. Hopefully this is all solid underneath. Oh, this is working like a charm. Here, let me bring you up close. I didn't really think, I didn't think it would work this well. Now, obviously, I got another tool now that I got from Harbor Freight after the undercoat's off. I'll use that, but This is working fairly well. I don't know if this undercoat's original. I have no way of knowing. Oh, this is just, maybe it isn't, but it's been on here a long time. This is almost falling off. See, my light's flickering in the ceiling lightly. These heat guns must pull a lot. Oh yeah, this is nice. I really didn't expect this. A little bit of heat. I have this set at 1200 degrees, so that's pretty high. I think that's as high as this gun will go. My daughter bought me this gun. It actually works very nice. Whoop. Oh, this is, I'm really happy. I didn't think it would come off this easy. How to remove undercoat. Okay. Let me go ahead and speed the film up because we're going to recondition this whole winter well. Be right back. I'll make the film fly. I must admit, I am amazed at how easily this is coming off with the heat gun. Now I have other cleanup to do afterwards, and I'll go over that, but outside of that, I am really amazed. I didn't know it would come off like this. This is definitely a great way to do it. Just be careful, you know, you don't, depending on where you're at in the car, don't heat a fuel line up or anything, so. Okay, let me get back at it here. We'll speed it right back up. All right, let me reposition here. It's coming off pretty good. I think that's all the undercoating, because this down here was painted. So let me move this out. Looks good. I must say that worked great. That undercoating's been on there a long time, and it took it right off. Heat gun is the solution. Just be careful, because you can start a fire real easy with one too. So do this on your own will. Okay, I'm gonna take and use, instead of a wire wheel, I'll show you what I'm gonna use. I bought these from Harbor Freight. That's 150 grit comparison, and this is an 80 grit comparison. So I'm gonna try the 150 first, put it on the drill and see what it does for cleanup. Okay, this is the 150 grit one. I'm gonna try this first and just go over this. I wanna see what it does. It's made of nylon, so let's see. Wear eye protection and the face mask. I don't for filming purposes. I don't think it's doing crap. Let me get the 80 grit. Always be careful with the undercoat on the floor. I cleaned the floor up before I did this, because if I tracked undercoating in the house, yeah, it would be bad. Heather would be upset. I don't know if I like these. I've used them before, and I haven't used them in a while. I wasn't real impressed with them. Now I see why. absolutely really aren't doing much for 80 grit comparison. Okay, well, don't buy them from Harbor Freight. I think they stink. All right, let me do something a minute. So I put a 80 grit disc on my orbital. I want to see what this does. Let me put my mask up on this one, just for the heck of it. Okay, I don't know if you can still hear me, but wow, this is looking a lot different. I really don't like Bodywork, but it comes with the territory. Where in the heck? Oh. This is the part that I wasn't thrilled about doing films on because I think it bores a lot of people. Or maybe it don't. Maybe you're sitting there with chips and pop or soda, sitting here watching, so. Wow, sanding discs don't last very long. You can go through a lot of these real fast. Once I get this outer skin off, I'm going to go ahead and wire wheel these areas, and that's going to need repaired. I won't bore you with that on camera. I can put my finger through a few parts of it. Okay, I'll have to get a wire wheel inside here. So I think this ain't gonna do nothing there. Funny part is that's an 80 grit sanding disc. These nylon bristles were 80 grit and wouldn't touch it, but the sanding disc cut it right down. Unbelievable. Okay, let me get the wire wheel. There is definitely a difference between the starting point and now. I'm going to wire wheel all these areas down here real quick. This is going to have to come off. That's from the old apron. So I can drill the spot welds on it. And I got to check this seam on this. I got to patch this hole. And when I'm done with these rust spots, I'll probably spray them with some Ospo and then come back and rust bullet all of this. I want to get this undercoat off of the speedometer cable. The speedometer cable moves really smooth, so. All right, sorry. I'll speed the film up. So, that cleaned up fairly nice. I really believe it did. Now I'm going to have to weld in one here and one there for the lugs. I call them lugs because I make words up. Now I am going to put a light behind this from the inside of the car, the patch the last guy welded, and see if any light is coming through the seam, because we don't need a leak behind the carpet. Remember that. I got to remove the piece from the old apron off. Then I got to patch this hole, spray with Ospo, let it sit, and then come back and rust bullet all of it. I was going to paint it to match the car, but rust bullet will protect it better under the fenders. So let's do this next. Here's what I use, spot weld cutter. I bought it at O'Reilly's. They said they're lifetime warranted. I don't know if I believe that, but they said save the package. If it ever breaks or gets dull, bring it back and we'll give you another. Although I've used it quite a bit and it really hasn't dulled, so maybe they're onto something with this. I want to get this piece off of here because I want to undercoat, well, not undercoat, rust bullet all of that. So let's see what happens if we can find all of the spot welds. All right, let's hit here. Now, when you use these, you can't dig deep. Make sure you don't punch a hole all the way through. This tip pushes in, so you can put it in the spot weld and then go in. And I have a step wrong way. Here we go. Now, here's what I do to check this. Where'd my screwdriver go? There it is. I go so far and then I stop. And as you can see, it peels off then without putting a hole in a car. And then I grind that smooth. So let's do another one. Okay, I have a, oh, what is it? A 36 grit disc I got from Harbor Freight. We'll see how it works. I never had one fight me like this. And I cannot see the spot welds. I mean, I see a bunch of divots, but I don't believe they're all spot welds. Wow. Well, I guess I'm going to have to just keep grinding. Okay, I'll grind a little and I'll be right back because I know you're fast forwarding through it now. That thing fought me. Literally, I ended up with a little hole here off the fix. But it fought me. I had to straighten this back out. Once I put the new apron on, then I'll beat it up against it and smooth it. But that one definitely fought me. Usually they pop right off for me, but not today. So I grinded and cleaned a few things up. And when I grinded there, looky, of course. But the rest of it's pretty good. I put a light behind there inside the car and seen a few pinholes. So I'm going to grind this a little smoother. I'm going to put some filler across like that, some metal filler, and smooth it out. But I'm going to go ahead and repair this hole. Then I'm going to hit this with OSPO and let it sit overnight. But with the magic of video, I'll be back in about 3 seconds with that done. Okay, so it sat for 24 hours. I sprayed some OSPO in there in the hole where you see here, and let it soak in real good and let it sit. I forget, I didn't read the directions on the OSPO, but I believe you're supposed to let it sit for a day. So I did some metal. Okay, come on over. I did some metal work. I repaired that area. I used metal filler. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. And I ran a skim coat across there because whoever had welded this patch on, there was some pinholes and water would have got in there behind the carpeting. So I'm going to go ahead and sand these areas and clean the rest of it up pretty good. There's OSPO on everything, so it shouldn't rust again, or who knows when. But I'm going to go ahead and sand this. I'll be back as soon as I smooth this out so we can rust bullet. These lugs I'll do another day because I'm only bringing the rust bullet up so far. So also, I did pull these guide rails back off. I'm going to go ahead and paint and then paint the guide rails and then put them back on. So I'm going to spray them the color of the car so they don't rust underneath. Also, if you're wondering what type of metal I use, German metal. See this big hunk of metal under the car laying there? Because I don't have space in my garage. That's the roof off of a Beetle. The guy that owns the salvage yard had one that was pretty bad shape, but obviously the roof was like new. So he was nice enough to cut the whole roof, the top of the roof, off of a Beetle since the rest was just gone, and gave me it. So I got like really nice thick German metal to work with. I just thought that was interesting. And I said metal body filler. This is what I'm using. Metal reinforced filler. And it's actually works pretty well. But I'm not a body man, so I'm not going to sit here and debate about Bodywork. I'm not a body man. So we have this all done. It's smoothed out pretty nice. I'm gonna go ahead now and get the rust bullet ready and go ahead and coat it on. I will film that. I won't speed it up so you can see how it works, how smooth it goes on. I love rust bullet, so let's go ahead and get started on that next. So we're gonna have to mix the rust bullet up. It's been sitting a while, and I left the rust bullet down the house. In the winter, I have to put all my aerosols and canned stuff in the house because the garage gets cold when I'm not in here. Okay, there it is. I have to leave things at the house in the winter. My stuff will all freeze up. I do heat the garage though when I'm in here, but I can't heat it all the time. Here's what I'm using. Rust bullet door grade. Color is black. I know I got some of the rust bullet on there, the paint. You can scuff this up if it's after 2 hours and put a second coat on, which they recommend you put 2 coats on. So I'm gonna brush on, wait about 45 minutes, brush another coat on. So there's 2 coats. If you go past 2 hours, scuff it down with 800 or something lightly, and then it'll be absorbent again to put another coat on. Or you can paint over top of it after you scuff it down. Let it dry good and scuff it down. Sorry. I didn't know who was all with me when I used this stuff before, so let's get her opened up here. I'll bring you up close in a second here. You can see how thick it is. Here, I'll move the camera over. Sometimes I get the paint down inside, and then it's hard to get open. Try not to bend the lid beyond recognition. All the inner wells. I even did the frame head, the floors, the firewall. I got a lot out of 2 quarts. And it's gonna stick in here. Yep, you can see how this is going now. So always clean the crevice out real good. Poo-poo. Well, I'll just get another container to put the rest in. I think this is unhappy. Wow. Yeah, I messed the can up. Okay, so let's, you can see it's been a little messy, so it's you can see how thick it is. Very, very thick. I'm just stirring it up in case anything's in the bottom. Seems okay though. It's so thick that it makes it a little easy to stir, as odd as that may sound to you. Here we go. I better put this down there. When you get this stuff on anything, it doesn't want to come off, which isn't a bad thing, depending on what it is. Alrighty, let's get our first coat on. I just kind of, I'm not a pro painter for a living with brushes and painting houses, etc. But boy, this stuff goes on thick. I really like rust bullet. If you've seen any of my other videos, you already know I really am a big fan of it. Plus, I had a friend who did his truck frame many years ago with rust bullet, and he don't take care of his truck. I'm not putting him down. It's a work truck, but the frame still looks brand new. I think it's all in the prep too. As long as you prep it properly, that's the main thing. People will say, well, I used Port 15 or rust bullet and it peeled off or whatever. Well, then you didn't prep it properly off film, and I didn't sit there and do it in front of you. I blew this off real good with air, and then I wiped it down with lacquer thinner to clean it. So that's all in the prep, in all honesty. And that's with any bodywork or paint. If you don't prep it, well then, if you don't prep it properly, I'm doing this and talking at the same time. Actually come out really nice. I'm really happy with it. Okay, let me get around this bumper bracket. I got some on the floor anyhow. You don't want to track rust bullet around. What do you think? I will say, that seat that Vever sent me has come in handy. It really, really has. I love it. So let's take a look here. Actually, I just sat in it. Look at that. How pretty. Can't get a good angle on it. But it come out really nice. I'm really happy with it. Now it has to dry. I'm going to do off film a second coat because there's no point in you watching me do 2 coats. But I'm going to wait about 45 minutes and brush another coat on. Okay, now a few things to remember. With Rust Bullet, okay, the one that I have, okay, the door grade or whatever, I'm not near the can now. You want to paint another coat on before 2 hours. Also, if you want to paint over this, you can. Let it dry, say 24 hours or what have you, like good and solid, and go ahead and scuff it down. I think you have to look on the website, could be like 800 grit. You're going to scuff it lightly to make it, you know, take the gloss away, and you can paint over top of it. Now, they sell an automotive grade that you can spray through a gun, okay, which would be great too. Be something to, like, you can get other colors instead of black. Get the automotive grade and spray your car. Imagine that. But I don't recommend it because I don't know. But keep your threaded holes so nothing gets in them or you'll be retapping. Well, you'll be cleaning the threads up. But it come out really nice. I'm really happy with it, in all honesty. The undercoat with the heat gun, boom. And that undercoat's been on there a long, long time, I could tell. So okay, let's go over a couple things and I'm going to close out because we got to get back on this car hardcore. I got to be on it a couple times a week. I need it done for spring because Slade actually needs to have a Beetle to drive. That's why it's called Slades VW Beetle. Right now it's Slades VW No Beetle, but it's okay. I did sell the Super Beetle and it went to a really great home. Anyhow, I'm going to go redo the guide rails and put them back on, paint them. So I guess I should show everything, even if it's an extra 10-minute video to show what I'm doing. So maybe it's not a bad idea, but we're going to go ahead. I'll do the other side off film. Unless you just want to see all that, let me know, but it's stupid to show you another inner well job. So I'll get a lot done in the background and we'll be back for our next DIY. See, now wasn't that fun? It felt good to get back in the garage though, because I had spent 3, 4, 5 weeks. If you notice, the videos got a little weird. I was really busy working on the house and helping Heather with something. So I'm back in the garage. If any of you caught, I slowed down a little for a brief period, although trying to keep you entertained at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and move the DIYs back to Fridays. I know probably 90% of you aren't seeing this because nobody makes it to the end, I don't think. But the DIYs will be on Fridays. I've had no more self-interview from the members sent in lately, which is fine. Not everybody can do that all the time. So we will see you on the next DIY update.